Winston Salem is a great day. We got some special guests in the building with us today. Another episode of PinkTalk Podcast. We got some very special guests, in my opinion. We have the Podfather, my man Tim, and we have the lovely Miss Shantha. Not Shantha, Shantha. All right, it's a new episode, and we are tuned in. I'm a little bit late, a little bit tardy, but we still on time. We're going to get this thing rolling. So this is a special episode to me because Mr. Tim here is one of the longest running podcasts in North Carolina. Is that correct? It's not just Winston Salem?
No, right. I have, with the LessDesirables, we are the longest continuously running pop culture podcast in North Carolina.
In North Carolina. And that's deep to me. You know, and it doesn't even matter the genre, just the fact that it is the longest running podcast in North Carolina. And I want to find out what he's been doing for the last however many years to be continuously running to be the longest running podcast. So we're gonna dig deep, as well as we're gonna dig deep in with Mrs. Shantha. Mm-hmm. And just looking at her IG, she beats face. Well, is that correct?
One of the many things.
One of the many things.
But yes.
So we're gonna dig deep into some of those. I got some questions for that as well. But I'm going to start with you, Tim. Okay. Just introduce yourself. Give us a little rundown.
Well, my name is Tim Beeman, and I do podcasts. I do voiceovers. I do food. I am the man who ate the town. So I have been doing that for 13 years. I've been podcasting for 13 years. I have been podcasting longer than anybody around here. That's not bragging. That's just telling you. I've been doing this a long time. I have close to 1,500 podcast episodes under my belt that I've produced, either my own or for others. And this is, it took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up. And when I do grow up, I will do podcasting. Still to this day, when I grow up,
great.
I will do podcasting.
Podcast. I mean, it's definitely a new way of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely a new way of life. And I'm not sure your age background, but we look like we're close to similar in age.
I will be 50 years old in November.
Okay, I'm not that but we're pretty close. I'm pushing 40, but okay. That means you were in it when internet first really came evolved. Yeah. So we're gonna dig deep into that, and I definitely want to get some of those jewels because I want to be running for 13 years.
It's fun.
And right. Miss Shantha.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of background about yourself as well.
So I am Shantha Caldwell, and I am a beauty entrepreneur. I have been in the beauty industry pretty much all my life. Like I started when I was 10 years old, doing hair in my mama's kitchen.
Okay.
My own and my mama's and my grandmama's. And then as I got older, I did it all throughout high school and college. So now I am a professional makeup artist full-time. But previously, I've been in the beauty industry 25 years, and I've been a makeup artist for about 17 of those. So I'm in the era now where I've retired from the salon, and I am a full-time makeup artist, and I have developed my own custom blend cosmetic line.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And what made you, just want to not just work in a salon, but be an entrepreneur as far as what you love doing?
Well, what pushed me to be an entrepreneur is when I graduated from college, I had a career in the airline industry. So I worked in international reservations for a while, but then I was a flight attendant.
Okay.
And I loved that job. I probably would still be a flight attendant, but I got laid off at 9/11.
Okay.
And the day I got laid off, I was, still young, like 20, early 20s. And just that feeling of being laid off and not knowing what you're going to do. I just said, I'll never be laid off again. And I never worked for anyone else again. I worked for myself.
So you've been an entrepreneur for quite a while.
For quite a while.
9/11.
So I was a non-traditional cosmetology student.
Okay.
So I wasn't, your typical, most girls are like straight out of high school. And I had already had a career. So I finished the program in about 10 months. And I've been in the salon ever since until I sold my salon about 6 years ago.
Okay. So what you been doing, you say you started at 10?
10 doing hair. And hair was usually my focus until I got to college where I started doing makeup. And then once you start to develop, different gifts and talents and you decide what makes you more money, what takes you less time, then I decided to transition. A lot of people, don't take that leap, but I did.
Definitely taking that jump. Timothy, what about yourself? What made you say, I want my voice heard? I want to start a podcast.
Well, it goes back pretty far. I have always wanted to do voiceovers. I've always wanted to be in radio.
Okay.
Excuse me, but what can I say things on this show?
You can say say what you want.
I did not have the balls to get into radio. I have one of my best friends was on the radio. He still is in radio. And about that time, about 2003, 2004, I'm starting to get interested in this very new medium called podcast, and it's called podcast because Adam Curry, who used to be on MTV, the original Podfather, found a way of embedding an MP3 into a text file, which is what we now call an RSS file. And that was the early days of podcasting. And I'm like, I can do a radio show and not worry about messing anything up. Not that even once I started podcasting, I didn't mess anything up anyway. I don't know what I was afraid of other than myself.
Okay.
So I decided podcasting is where to go. So in 2007, I owned part of a comic book store here in Winston, and we decided we wanted to do a podcast, and we were the second highest in the state in sales. So we got on these phone calls with Marvel Comics.
Okay.
And I would record the phone calls, and then I would go home and put commentary to it and edit it down and create a podcast from that. So in 2007, the Silver Bullet Comics podcast started. In 2010, February 2010, a friend of mine and I started the Less Desirables podcast. It was supposed to have been 20 minutes of movies, music, sports, and beer. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to fill 20 minutes. Neither one of us knew what we were doing. I'm a musician, so I had a recording studio in my house.
Okay.
I said, let's just sit down, and I'm going to hit this record button and see what happens. And can we fill 20 minutes? I don't know. 20 minutes is the average commute in this area. So can we fill 20 minutes? Well, we're going to try. Hit record. 38 minutes later, the first one was done. The next week, he came back, and we're like, well, let's see if we can do that again. 43 minutes, the second one was done.
Okay.
And so we've missed one Wednesday since February the 3rd, 2010.
Wow.
I even had triple bypass heart surgery on a Wednesday, and we still had that show.
Wow.
The only one that we missed, I was out of the country, and my podcast partner couldn't figure out my setup, and it just flubbed on him, and he said the heck with it, and I couldn't do anything about it. So tomorrow, which will be the what is tomorrow, the 26th will be the 550th episode of the Less Desirables.
Wow.
That's a lot of episodes.
Congratulations, man. Look, just by you just telling us how you got started shows your dedication. To only miss one Wednesday since February of 2010.
Right.
Yeah. And one of my other goals was I want to have a podcast network. So whenever I moved out of my house into my first studio was on 4th Street right under Aperture Cinema.
Okay.
I was in the basement there, and I started with a friend of mine, the Camel City Dispatch News Hour, and then Fan Interference, which is a sports podcast. Fan Interference still is operational today. Soon after that, I started, it was Tart and Tangy Triad, which was with Nikki Miller-Ka, a food blogger here in town, and with my wife. And we disbanded that after about 2 years. And because I already am the Man Who Ate the Town food blogger, I decided I was going to do the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. And so I did. And two of my business partners and I are the Beer Dads. So we have recorded 202 episodes with them, and Wheeler's Dog, which is my friend who was on radio. It's his own. I have two music ones that I do, one with one of my musical friends, one with my two cousins. It's all about the band Kiss. And then I have Apartment 5B, which is irrational conversations with the cool breezes of Anytown, USA. Apartment 5B was Kramer's apartment on Seinfeld.
Okay.
So it's really just whatever pops into our mind. It's a pop culture podcast that really doesn't mind going blue every once in a while. So it's hard to tell what we're going to talk about. Two New Yorkers and me.
Okay, so
it's
I could only imagine how that goes because I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah.
So I could only imagine how that goes. Agree to disagree
one
situation.
Long Island, one from Yonkers. So
okay,
yeah. So it's
and I live close by Yonkers, and I moved here from Long Island.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's the things that I do over at the Less Desirables Podcast Network.
Okay, it sounds like you're a pretty busy man.
I am.
Sound like you're a pretty busy man.
If I tell everybody if I'm awake, I'm working.
Okay, I understand. I definitely feel you on that.
Yeah.
You know, as far as you've been running, as long as you have been running, what do you feel like separates yourself from the rest of the podcast world?
Well, dedication is big. I also consult for other people starting podcasts, and I notice a lot of them when they find out what it takes to make a podcast, they are like, I don't know that I want to put that kind of dedication into it. But it's go big or go home, the way I look at it. And my thing is I don't give up on it. I try to learn new technology. I try to always, from the first day I ever did it, like I said, I'm a musician, so I had a recording studio in my house. I like to think that my podcast always sounds as good as the top 10 podcasts as far as quality goes, not only content, but the sonic quality of it out there. And whenever I produce for other people, my job is to make them feel the same way that I do about my podcast.
Yeah, because I've heard some podcasts that sound pretty shitty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do it, here's the thing: if you have shitty content but good quality, you have a shitty podcast. Mm-hmm. If you have great content and shitty quality, or the opposite way around, you still have a shitty podcast. You need great quality, great content. So make it everything. Put your soul into it. And when you do, I don't know how many that is, 6, 7 that I was counting off. You spread your soul around.
Yeah.
But if this is what I said I'm going to do, and this is what I plan on continuing to do.
Definitely, and it looks like you are doing a great job. 13 years,
thank you,
and running. Missing one episode, that's pretty good dedication, in my opinion.
Thank you.
And Shantha,
Absolutely, yes.
For you, I've seen a lot of people do makeup, have their makeup done, and looks pretty crappy. What techniques would you give someone? What are some of the foundation techniques as far as applying makeup? To look more natural.
Right. I would say to anyone, I say this a lot because I'm an educator also.
Okay.
So I teach cosmetology. I teach makeup classes, and there are many makeup artists' careers. And so what people need to understand is what type of makeup do you want to do, first of all. Because if you are someone that likes beauty makeup, like you see in magazines or photo shoots, things like that, then you may not particularly be a makeup artist for runway or high fashion, because it's a different type of makeup. So people need to really figure out what kind of makeup are they talented at or what they can do. And just because you can do your own makeup doesn't mean that you can do other people's makeup. So you really need to learn face structure. I've talked to many makeup artists, and I'm like, well, what kind of products would you use on somebody that, has a round face? And they're like, what's a round face? Like, there are different facial structures that you need to know so that you know what type of makeup to apply and where to put it and where not to put it. Because you can make people look worse than what they actually look like applying makeup incorrectly. So it's all about the application, and it is about the product. However, if you are an artist and you are perfecting your craft, you should be able to use any product and have a good result. But that only comes from training. So I tell people all the time, you have to train yourself, you have to practice, and you have to really do makeup to become good at it. Okay. So if you just doing your makeup.
I know we're talking in conversation, but
yes,
that's very true. You have to know how to do makeup because
repeat what she says.
Like, because we're dark-skinned women, we
absolutely
have to make our makeup sometimes because they don't make it for us sometimes.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up because not only knowing your craft, but you have to know color. Color is very important. And most people don't even know what the color wheel is. They don't know that, yellow and blue make green. They don't know the primary colors. All of that goes into being a true makeup artist because you can use the wrong colors or on the wrong, type of skin tone, undertone, and have a disaster. So makeup is not just about buying makeup and doing it and thinking you're going to be great. Because like you said, you're going to see some horrible
Yes, because
I teach less is really more.
So I have a question.
Yes.
I know there's very little of it that you can see, but what kind of face do I have?
You have a round face.
Okay.
So you have oval, which is your typical model face, right? You have round, which is like a circle, right? You have
I'm round all over.
You're round all over. You have
I'm
oblong.
in shape because round is a shape.
I'm trying to think of who would have an oblong face that's famous. You have oblong face, which is not really square, but it's kind of thin, smaller at the top, more square at the bottom.
Like a John Travolta chin kind of faces?
Sort of, kind of.
Okay.
You have round, oval, oblong, and square. Pretty much. So you can look, if you look at people, you can pretty much, if you're paying attention, you can tell just by looking at them what their facial structure is.
I don't want to step on your toes because you're totally.
Oh, no, you are great.
But you are like 12 shades of beautiful. And so you obviously know what you're doing. You've been doing this for a long time since you were 10. But at 10, what made you decide you wanted to do that?
So at 10, I didn't like the way anybody did my hair. Because you got to remember, I started in hair first.
Okay.
So I didn't like the way anybody did my hair. It just wasn't good for me. So I started doing my own hair. And then I loved it. And I had every baby doll. You remember the baby dolls used to have just the neck and the hair on them? Mm-hmm. I had every one of those. And because I loved doing hair so much, where we lived, my grandfather bought a strip of land. So all of us lived on the same street. So it was my dad's house, my aunt's house, my uncle's house, my aunt's house. So then I would just be able to go do all my cousin's hair and my auntie's hair and just let me play, in their hair. And so that's where I learned how to be creative. And nobody's hair was the same. Everybody's hair was different. So I really learned texture and how to manipulate early. So as I grew, then chemicals started coming out. So I had the Jerry curl, and I had the relaxer, and I had the braids,
Soul Glow,
all of that. I had it all. There's nothing that I probably haven't had. The only thing that I have not had is a lace front wig.
What is that?
The new.
Oh man.
The new. Tragedy.
Yeah, man. I've seen some horrible
ones. So it's pretty much a wig that is supposed to look very natural, but the very natural ones are very expensive, and most people cannot afford those.
Very expensive.
So the lace front wigs are what you see in movies and Saturday Night Live, places like that. But now the whole world is wearing them. And some of them are great and some of them are horrible. That's the only hairstyle that I have never experienced. And I've never really had hair, so.
And this weekend I have seen a combination of both terrible lace front with terrible makeup. and they looked casket sharp.
So I think the problem is, you know how you have these, you have a lot of people that really think that they can learn how to do makeup off YouTube. And YouTube has some great artists, I hear. I don't really watch it. I don't really, I'm self-taught, and I take professional makeup artist classes from pros. You know, I don't take classes off of YouTube because most of them are doing it to for product, you know, or to show product. And again, you're not really learning the technique. You're just watching somebody do it versus somebody telling you and showing you how to do it, you know, properly.
Okay.
So it just depends.
What are some of your projects?
So I have a custom blend makeup line. So that means not only do I have makeup, but I actually make it. So my girlfriend over here was saying how people have issues with finding the right color.
Yes.
They're buying 2 to 3 different shades of makeup to mix them together to make sure that they're the right color, and they're still not the right color, right? So what I do is I take mineral product, whether it be liquid, powder, or lip stain pigment, and I can actually make the makeup. So I make my own makeup. So I can make concealer, foundation, blush, eyeshadow, whatever you can think of. Any product on the line, I literally can make it. So my biggest thing right now is my custom blend lip line. So I can make any lipstick, any lip gloss, any lip formula you can think of. I make it with the pigment. So if you want purple, I make purple. If you want red, I make red. If you want orange, I make orange.
So you custom make it for the client.
So, and when you say pigment, you're talking about you're using the client's pigment to make?
No, I am using pure pigment like red,
blue,
I
got you.
Yellow, black, brown, orange, pink, all of those to create the color that they desire.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm making it with color.
So you go see somebody doing a fashion show somewhere and they got the wildest color. You can... If
they want it matched, I can match it.
Wow.
Absolutely. Or we can do correcting. So a lot of people that come to me, I say, bring your makeup bag so that we can go through your makeup bag. And most likely they have incorrect color, incorrect makeup. So then I'm going to make the makeup that fits them perfectly. I match their skin tone, their skin texture, their skin, however they want the makeup to feel. So for oily people, I can make it mattifying. For dry people, I can make it hydrating. For, we call it seasoned skin, elderly skin, where you're having issues with wrinkles or open pores, then I can make it so that it smooths your skin out. So you're literally putting these components together. So like a chemist with makeup.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's trying to get their makeup done, you know, trying to get done up for a wedding or a special event,
right,
plug in how they can get in contact with you.
So I have a Shantha the Artist website, and it literally is Shantha, SHANTHA, the THE, artist, ARTIST.com, where all of the services that I provide are there. All of my custom packages are there. My bridal, I do a lot of bridal. That would be my number one, I would say, hire. People usually call me for weddings and brides when I'm, you know, available, because I do a lot of movies and videos. And so when I'm here, I'm usually doing a wedding, or I do a lot of print magazine. So my goal as a makeup artist is to cover all of the makeup artists' careers, right? Okay. So let's say you have at least 30, because people don't think about, when you think of Walking Dead, like that's makeup. Yes. That is special effects, right?
Okay.
When you think Freddy Krueger, when you think all of that, that's all makeup. And to be honest, like Walking Dead artists, Star Wars, they make the money. Like that's where you make a lot of money doing that type of makeup. But you have beauty and you have bridal and you have all of these things. So out of the 30, I have covered maybe 22.
Okay.
So I still have some makeup areas that I haven't even touched. So you got prosthetics. Like when I go to Atlanta to a professional makeup conference, I always take a prosthetic class. So last year I was so excited. I went to a prosthetic class and we did bullet wounds and razor cuts and the plague and all that. So I'm kind of getting into that. I really like it.
I'd like to have the plague look, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have people calling me for Halloween.
Okay.
You know, my brother wanted a bullet hole a couple of places, and I had the plague on my arm when I was coming back through the airport from class. And they were like, ma'am, you cannot be traveling with that. I'm like, it's makeup, I promise.
So what's your favorite kind of makeup to do? Your favorite genre of makeup?
I would say I love brides. It's special. It's really special for them. I love bridal, and I love print. I love photo shoot, magazine, because you get to work with people and develop their. You get to see their vision. You get to add your vision. You get to tweak it. Make sure that it's and then the final product. Like once it's in that magazine, you have it forever. Yep. Bridal is for the day. Of course, their pictures are going to last forever. But that magazine, that cover, I've been in a few magazines here for Scythe Women.
Okay.
The bridal.
I produced their podcast.
You do? Wow, that's awesome. I've done a couple of their magazines, and it's just very rewarding when you have editorial because it's there forever.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. Yeah. Fashion Week. That's like that runway. Bam, bam, bam. I'm 43 years old. So maybe when I was in my 20s, that would have been appealing to me. But that, a whole lot of going on, moving parts. For me, I'm not that interested. It's just a lot going on.
Real fast.
Real fast. And I've done it so much, and it's so draining. Like, I want to feel like I have accomplished something at the end of the day. And that high fashion runway, it's like, you don't know what just happened. You just know that it happened. Yeah. So I've done it. I do it. The price is right.
I understand.
If the price is right now.
Oh yeah.
I'll be on the runway.
Yeah.
But nah. I'm kind of
Tim.
Yes, sir.
You. Tell us what you got coming up and tell us how we can get in contact with you, how the people can tune in.
I really recommend the Less Desirables Podcast Network website, which is tldpodnetwork.com. You can find all of our podcasts on there, all of everything that I do on the network, whether it's the Less Desirables, The Man Who Ate the Town, Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Wheeler's Dog, Apartment 5B, Sipping NC. I forgot that one earlier. It's all about drinking. And,
Can I come? Can I come?
When we crank that one back up, there's going to be a lot of people invited. Okay. But, tldpodnetwork.com. I'm probably right now more prolific on themanwhoatethetown.com because that podcast, especially in the COVID era, we are focusing a lot on what restaurants are open, what are doing takeout, what's curbside, who's dining in. And we started a media business to manage social media for restaurants specifically called Beeman Metz Media. That's my wife, myself, and our friend Leah Metz. And we curate the most used list in town about what restaurants are doing what. Okay. And you can find that at wsstrong.com.
Yeah, I took a look on your website because you got a nice amount of sponsors on there. Yeah, you got a nice amount of sponsors. Last question for you before we get out of here. Someone who, for the up and coming that want to start a podcast, being that you are the Podfather, drop some jewels, somebody that's interested in starting up. What would your words of encouragement for them getting started?
When I do consultations for people, my rule is I need you to outline 3 episodes for me. I want you to write out an outline for what the first 3 episodes in your mind look like. Mm-hmm. Because in that first 3, and it doesn't have to stay that way, the point is to see what goes into making one. Don't worry about the, with me anyway, don't worry about the hardware. I got that. If you want to know about equipment and if you have the time to sit and learn it, then more power to you. But if you don't have to, show me your first 3 episodes and I will walk through with you to tell you, again, I've been doing this for a long time. Best practices, how it would work best, things that you might want to consider. And next, from that point, then we talk about actually doing a podcast.
Okay.
Because until you know this is how you're going to do it and what it's going to entail, there's no reason to get into something that you're going to spend money on, whether you're paying someone to produce it, whether you're producing it yourself, until you know that you have a dedication to it. Mm-hmm. So before you jump in, make sure you test the waters.
Test the waters.
Right.
Yeah. So, or at least just wade into your knees. Don't go up to your neck, because once you're in that, then you got to unload that stuff somehow if it's not what you want to do. And that's expensive.
All right. So all my people that's tuned in, I got a lot of people that reached out to me about a podcast. I am sitting right here next to the Podfather. He just gave you the jewels. If you don't have that dedication and you're not willing to put that time in, don't waste your time.
Right.
Am I right?
And and that is a very, very important jewel to drop for somebody, because this equipment is definitely not cheap. I can tell you that. It is not cheap at all. So if you don't have to waste your money and you're not going to put that dedication, you're going to have it sitting in the corner, you can sell it to me for cheap. I'll buy it from you. Or just don't waste your money. Right. But we definitely appreciate you guys coming in, spending a little time with us, dropping some jewels with us. And once again, before we get out here, just drop your IGs, how we can get in contact with you.
Okay. My cosmetic line is shanthascosmetics.com. And out there you will see my custom blend line. I have a ready-to-wear line. And I am adding product every week. So a full makeup line, whatever you're looking for, will be out there soon. However, to book me would be shanthatheartist.com. And my Instagram and my Facebook is the same, Shantha the Artist.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
The Less Desirables on Instagram, Man Who Ate the Town on Instagram, and tldpodnetwork.com.
All right. And y'all make sure y'all follow us at PinkTalk_podcast. Shout out to Open Media. Shout out to Miss Faith. Shout out my partner in crime, Coldplay Woo. Till the next time, Winston Salem, we are out.
See ya.